Greetings, visionaries. Welcome back. It's been quite a long time, but I am happy to say that production is back underway. This episode, we've got something new and exciting for you, something different. Instead of just one guest, we have a panel of guests. So, allow me to introduce to you these three individuals sitting here with me. We have Miss Talent, a member and a special advisor in the board of the Visionaries Association. We have Mr. Percy, who's also a member and a special advisor specializing in special opportunities, external opportunities. And we have, of course, Mr. Newman Mvenge is our new vice president. So today we are going to be talking a bit about mental health in youth, because we figured it's very important to in our pursuit of vision, in our pursuit of who God made us and designed us to be. It's very important that we are mentally healthy. So I'm gonna now leave it to our panel with this question: what is mental health, and how does it affect the youth, and why is it important that we are aware of issues surrounding mental health as young people? Yeah, so I'm gonna Miss Talent. Yeah, maybe.
So mental health, right? We are saying this is your emotional balance, right? In terms of your brain in whatever up there is concerned, right? So it affects your body, because everything that stems off your brain, it reflects in your body, right? So I believe mental health is what can I say? It's a section where we also have, and we have physical health, right? So our mental health is also a section where we particularly take care of our brain, of our head, our whatever our thinking, everything that we do.
Well, that's cool. That's good. And I think mental health, right? It has something to do with you as a particular individual. Just by you are mentally, or maybe it is mentally upright, and maybe you are also socially. It has to do. It also encompasses social well-being, mental well-being, and maybe how you cope up with the situations that you're experiencing in life. Because at times, anything that you can do as a human being, or maybe as a child, or maybe as a young adult, just like us, it is something that you have to do, but you have to first of all think about it. You have to process it before executing that action. So it has to do with how you make up decisions, because your mental health actually has an impact on the decisions that you make. If let's say maybe your mental wellness is somehow not up to standard, or maybe not particularly proper because of some situations that are happening at that particular time, then that will influence your mental well-being, that will influence your mental health. So it has got to do with how we make a decision as a young adult, maybe for the long run or for the short run, but you have to encompass both decisions, both perspectives on how to make a decision.
So what I think mental health is, you are emotionally, psychologically, and socially well. In this world of technology we are living in, there's so much information which is getting to our brains. And Mr. Pace was talking about you being in a good mental health state. You are being able to process all that information. But now we consume so much information that we are failing to process that information, and in turn it's affecting how we think, how we look at life in general, and also how we talk to our friends. You may be in a social circle like this one, but if you are not in a good mental state, you may not be on the same page as your peers. You may not be feeling mentally stable and engaging in a normal way with your peers. So I think, yeah, mental health is just you being able to process all the information you are getting, so that it does not affect how you think, how you make your decisions, and how you connect with your peers.
So, like, a lot of things these days, especially concerning the youth, there's a lot of talk of peer pressure. There's a lot of talk of, AMA 2K being difficult. There's a lot of talk about AMA 2K indulging in drug and substance abuse. There's...
So you have to say I'm a 2K.
Yeah.
Or the Gen Z.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Gen Z again.
The Gen Z, our generation.
Oh, where the Gen Z? Okay. So
Coming up with so many names.
So there's a lot of talk about that, but that really comes back to our mental health, right? If you're not in a good space mentally, you are more prone to be affected by drug abuse. You are more prone to be affected by things like peer pressure and stuff like that. So for a young person with a vision, a young person who wants to achieve something in life, right? How important is it that they take care of their mental health? And it being that important, how do we really take care of our mental health as young people? Because I think it's easier for you to take care of your physical health, because when you're not okay physically, it's sort of more evident, right? It's clearer that they are not okay. But then if you're not okay mentally, it's a bit more difficult for us to notice that.
Because we may try to mask it out.
Yes, of course. Because, those are some of the, reflexes that we have as young people. We try to mask that. We try to be strong, to go through it and stuff. So, how do we as young people, how do we see that? How do we work on that so that we can take care of our mental health?
So, from what you said, right, about AMA 2K being difficult, right? AMA 2K engaging in drugs. I think that's a common thing, like nowadays, when everyone sees that someone is being a little less what they expected, or a little less, a little odd, or whatever, right? They believe that this person is now being difficult, right? But yeah, I'm relating it to, it might be sometimes mental issues, right? Because our mental well-being, right? If you are mentally not well, right, it will somehow in some way affect your physical health, because what stems off of your brain is your body. Your whole body will react to you being mentally unwell, right? So maybe someone might be like, she or he is mentally unwell, they sleep a lot. You are now asking them, why are you not studying? You're sleeping. Like, you're saying they are difficult because they don't want to study. No, but they are actually going through mental health issues. So I believe it's a very important topic to talk about, and especially discuss in not only these setups but also in high schools, because that's where we see most of our youth engaging in drugs because of school. It's not that they are being school is hard, but then they are being pressured and their mental health well-being is not in a good state, right? So that's what affects them. So I think if we were to find a solution to how people in high schools, even high school administrators would be able to teach kids, right, how to cope with stress, how to deal with themselves mentally, not just physically. Yeah. So I think we can continue.
Yeah, like what you have said, Mr. Samuel. In this era, right? Maybe for the Zimbabwean culture, or maybe for the Shona culture, we are not used to those maybe therapies that you can maybe go and see someone who can maybe have a therapy session together. That is not a common thing amongst us Zimbabweans, right, Mr. Would you even go for a therapy session?
I wouldn't even be able to afford therapy.
Yeah, you see.
The first place.
So the thing is that for mental health, right, I feel like it is best that you can try to share your grievances or maybe your problems with your closest peer. Or maybe it might be your parents, or maybe someone whom you are close to, because I believe that a problem that is shared is half solved.
Okay.
You can't even solve all the problems alone on your own. And for the youth nowadays, this is the reason why a lot of people are indulging in drug abuse and substance abuse and stuff. Because of the reasons that they are trying to cope up with the situation, but they can't, and they just tell themselves that they are strong. They're going to pass through, they are just going to pass through the situation without facing any difficulties. But when you now start to face difficulties along that path, that is when you try to look for other alternatives. And trying to look for other alternatives, that is when you get involved into drug and substance abuse. That is when you get involved in maybe into some criminal activities, just because you don't really appreciate that another person might help me. And I mean, with this one is what can I say? Maybe I'm saying this to you people out there, that if you're a youth, right, this is just a message to you. Don't try to solve everything on your own, because you can't solve anything on our own. We can solve some things, but especially if it is for maybe mental health and social well-being and stuff, we don't actually solve all those things on our own. We have to get into convocations and maybe have conversations with other people, so that you can get other perspectives towards this challenge that you are facing. Because on your own, that is barely impossible to solve it on your own. So maybe for the generation Z, like what you've been saying, it's not necessarily that you have to go to a therapy session, because like what you have said, we can't afford therapy session fees. But you can try to share. I can share a problem with you, Mr. Samuel. No, you know what, Mr. Samuel, I feel like these days I'm not actually being good. Maybe my grades are dropping because of this and this and this and this and that. And Mr. Samuel can give me some ideas on how to maybe navigate through those challenges. And by sharing those difficulties with you, I might be able to get one or two things from you. And then I can try to use those ideas practically, so that I can solve the challenges that I'm having. But if it is for mental health, I really encourage you. Not all mental health issues can be solved on your own. Consult other people, even elders. You've got better experience than you, or maybe your friends. But there is a challenge when you are consulting friends, because let's say Mr. Samuel were involved in drug abuse together. Then even if I want to get advice from you, you actually give me negative advice, because we are indulging ourselves into that same criminal offense. So you have to find people who are of positive impact in your life. But when you are under the influence of drugs and maybe all those social pressures, I feel like you won't be able to see that. So that is a challenge still. The question is up to you guys. How then do you know? Because when you're actually under the influence, you are maxed off. You can't even see. You can't even realize that you are doing something bad, unless something very big might happen.
And I think like to the reason why we must be so free to sort of talk to other people is because when we talk about mental health issues, I think a lot of people start to think about maybe people going crazy or people losing their minds entirely, but it's those little things that
they think about mental illness.
Yes, they think about mental illness,
Not
but we are talking about mental health. So I think one more thing that's very important to know is whatever you are going through, it's not exclusive to you. It's not only you who's going through that stuff. Even when you're a teenager, there's a lot of other teenagers who are also going through the same things that you are going through.
So I think mental health is a thing for everyone. It's not mental illness, right? So everyone
is mental health.
So
Yes.
it's mental illness.
So if people think it's mental illness, right? That's why they say mental health is not an issue until your loved one has it, right? Because everyone would be ignoring someone who's going through stuff, and then they're like, no, none of my family members has it. Like they think that mental health is not for everyone, though it's for everyone.
I would like to deviate from this conversation a bit. Psychologists have done research, and before even the research, we know this from our normal lives, that those hardcore criminals at first those people were just like you and me, but when they were first introduced to crime, they felt guilty doing those stuff. But when they continually were exposed to crime, they started to embrace crime until they now finally they enjoy the crime before they embrace it, and then they embrace it, and now it's part of them being
to
to
enjoy
crime.
it.
They are
So-
just doing crime.
In our daily lives, there are voices which you hear from good people and from bad people, and some are louder than others. So if you continually are exposed to the bad voices, then you start to get into our minds, because repeated things when they are put into your mind, they eventually reach a part of your brain which is called the subconscious mind. This is the part of your brain which stores things without you even thinking about those things, because it's subconscious, right?
Yeah.
So when it eventually reaches your subconscious, you start to believe it is true. So it's the same situation where you tell a person a lie, and until they believe it's the truth. So you tell yourself that you have this problem. You keep repeating that to your mind. As now it sticks with you that, oh,
Believes
I have
it.
this problem. I can't do this. I'm a failure. I do this and this. Maybe I cannot even contribute anything to the community. Now you get affected. You now take drugs. You now do things just because they get you off that state that you're a problem to the community.
So, you've spoken about how the things that we pay attention to, they become internalized in our, in our subconscious.
Become part of your social.
Yes,
It's
they
just a lifestyle.
They become part of us. We don't really become, at the end, it's not really, sometimes it's not even intentional that we do some of these things, but it's because we spend a lot of time feeding ourselves that. So I think it's an important thing to know that we do have a choice on what we listen to. We do have a choice on what we are going to end up believing, because what we pay attention to most of the time, right, is what we will internalize into our minds. So thank you so much, guys, for
Before
talking to us.
we close, I'd like to say something. We're talking about you being exposed to these voices, but it's because you don't pay attention that these voices get to you, right? So what can we do? This is where mindfulness comes in. You have to be mindful that this thing is causing problems for me. So you need to sit in silence and really try to think, what is it in my life which should not be there? What is it in my life which can cause problems in the long term? So when you really start to think hard on that, you really know which people to include in your life and which people to exclude in your life. And that will significantly shape your future and your overall well-being.
Can I say something?
Yes.
So we were talking about how to deal with that, like, because mental health, right, we are saying Kuti, it's how you're mentally fit and you're not having stress, you're not being subjected to anxiety, right? And we all know that anxiety is a reaction to stress, right? So since we say that these factors, if you're mentally unfit, these factors can even show in your physical well-being, right? So I think it's good that people know that if a person is like this, somehow they are mentally not well, because they might mask their face, but their body cannot hide. There are always that, like, sometimes when you feel like I'm not mentally okay or I'm not emotionally okay, like you feel a grudge or something pulled in your heart, or you feel pressure points on your body, it's like the same thing, right? They do show it up in your body. So I think it's good that everyone knows that these things can happen to someone. So maybe someone sleeps a lot, maybe someone is nauseous, maybe someone is like always stressed or always like tapping their feet whenever, like, you feel like, this guy, it's not a situation where they should be doing this, but then they are doing that, right? It sometimes show a distress, right? So I don't think we should wait for a student to be, especially students, right, for them to be actively in crisis to do something about that. Because at the end of the day, that leads towards suicide, before we even know that that thing is actively happening in their brain, right? So I think people should have means of early detection. I think it should be also incorporated into like high school setups to say just maybe a mini lesson, mini course or whatever. I'm not sure what that would be, right? To enlighten students on how to deal with their stress, how to cope with everything that they are going through. Because if there's no guide, they don't know how to handle that because they've never been through that, right? And then suddenly they are expected to handle that and everything else at the same time.
I think also like with the school aspect, right? I mean, I think in many Zimbabwean schools there are guidance and counseling teachers, right? But I think also to our friends, the youth, take those people seriously. Like, there is guidance and counseling lessons, slotted in our timetables. But sometimes we're like, we don't want to have
Because
that
you don't
lesson.
write it for the final examination.
Yes.
You're
because-
always stressed about
Yeah.
physics, chemistry.
Yes, because it's not going to be asked by his mistake or something. And also, I think with what you said, it shouldn't just be about teaching the guidance and counseling, right? But they should be actively there to notice and detect, to know this child is not feeling okay, this child is going through something. And so if they are able to detect those signs and symptoms early, then we can save the generation from drug and substance abuse, from even emotional abuse, right? We can safeguard them. I think that's a very key thing.
Maybe just to conclude, I would say maybe my advice to all of you out there is that in life, right, as youth, especially this is message for especially the youth, right? Who are still going to school, maybe you are just you just finished your A levels or maybe your O levels recently, and you don't know what to do. You're just stuck in this world. I want you to maybe have a moment for yourself, right? Think about the better picture or maybe the better vision of your future. What do you want to be? As we grew up, as we were growing up, right? We used to say, or maybe some of us still say that I want to be a pilot, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a businessman, I want to be this and that and that. And but now it seems as if that dream is starting to fade away. But I want to tell you this. We are able, we are capable of doing anything that we have set for ourselves. The sky is the limit. We don't have to be limited by what we can, but by the current situation. Rather, we should aim, or maybe we should have an insight on the future. So maybe that is why we are now being idle to the extent that we indulge ourselves in drug abuse, because we don't have the better picture of the future.
We don't believe in that picture too.
So for you, for us, and for everyone, picture that better future that you always desired or that you always wanted when you're growing up, and try to embrace it. Try to make it become a reality. Because if you know that, no, I said to myself when I was growing up, I want to be a pilot, I want to be a teacher. But now it seems as if that dream is fading away. What do you have to do? You have to keep on pushing hard. You have to keep on pressing hard on that bar, on that pattern that will propel you towards the set goal, because you are able of achieving anything. The future, tomorrow, and whatever is to come is in our hands, and we have the power to make it right or bad. But if we continue being pulled back by our mental health issues, we will never get anywhere, because it's more like you are adding problems to problems to problems. Rather, try to forget whatever bad incidences or occasions that have actually transpired, and try to focus on the good part that is yet to come, which is the future. I feel like that way you can be able to work towards achieving that goal, and you can always stay positive to yourself, and always try to make yourself develop that sense of discernment between bad or right, good and bad, positive friends who bring positive impact in your life, and friends who actually destroy your future. Try to stay with people who are of positive impact in your life.
So hold on to that vision until it becomes visible.
Thank you so much, visionaries. So grateful you were able to be with us today. As the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So until next time, goodbye.